Hello. As some of you may know, my cat Charlie is coming to move in with me in August. He's an older cat, but right now he has a larger house that he has the ability to run around in. I'm looking at harness training him. I actually have my mom crocheting him a harness, and I'm going to let him wear that around and get comfortable with it, and it's the same style as the harness I'm going to buy. I just want him to get adjusted and have something comfortable to wear around before I actually purchase a harness and start the walking process, like start training him to walk on a lead. So until then, though, he's not going to be able to leave the room, the one bedroom I'll be moving to very often. So I wanted to just kind of give him a way of exercising and whatnot. So I'm going to show you kind of my plan of what I'm going to be building for him. I'm doing it out of cardboard mostly. I think the majority of it will be cardboard, and I'm not sure on the exact design because although I've kind of have a design and plan, it's really dependent on the size boxes I can get and how large I end up being able to make it based on the space I have. So this is kind of going to be part one of that, and I'm just going to be building one section. So for this entire project, you're going to need a lot of boxes. So I just have a few different sizes here for now because I don't have all my materials yet. But I'm working on that. I'll have more shortly. For the rest of the project, you also need some wrapping paper. The color doesn't matter. It's whatever you prefer. I like to have two different colors because I'm going to have I'm going to change the colors throughout, and I'll show you a picture of what I found that I'm kind of going off of, and some art supplies to decorate it with. You also need tape and hot glue gun, possibly, X-Acto knives for sure, rope or string, more decorations, and of course some blankets, especially for the one we are working on today. So I'm going to start on that project and show you what you need just specifically for that one. So for this project today, you're going to need one box. The size doesn't matter, it's up to you, but it will determine what size blanket you need. I'm actually using a rug because my cat does not like to sit on towels or blanket for too long because it gets too hot. So this rug, it has some stretch to it, and I think he'll like the feel of it better. I found it at the dollar store. Most of the stuff I'm using today I got at the dollar store, including the wrapping paper, X-Acto knives, and the string. Also the tapes from the dollar store. So let's begin. So as you can see, I taped the bottom, and I also went through and reinforced all the edges. I ran out of tape. But that's the stapled side, so I'm actually okay with that. And next step is going to be to take your wrapping paper and wrap it, just like you would any other box. I have my wrap box. I'm going to want to determine where the top is and where the bottom is. So because I have this seam here, I'm going to make that the bottom. I would recommend getting this on the bottom or the top. I was actually thinking I wanted it on the side here, but then I realized it's going to be easier to hide it if I get this on the bottom or the side of the box. And this is the direction you want your box to go. See my ends. If you watched me wrap that, I'm kind of sorry. But I actually worked for a company gift wrapping before, surprisingly. But at this point, what I'm going to do is after I determine what's top and bottom, I'm going to take and mark off where I want to cut out the holes on this side, this side, this side, and this side. For this, I will need a roller because I want to leave 2 inches on the end of each so that I can make this into a hammock. And I wrap this first with the intention of cutting it out so that I have paper to fold over the edges of where I cut. Okay. So I'm going to go do that. So for my box, I'm actually going to do 1 inch on each side because of how big my box is, and then probably 2 inches on the top and the bottom because of the direction it is. And I'm using a piece of printer paper to actually act as a template, and I'm going to do it on this side and on the opposite side over here. And for these sides, I may end up cutting that paper and making an actual template so that it stays consistent. And I'll probably unwrap these so I have that extra paper. before I cut. I'm also going to, when I cut, I'm going to cut the paper first in an X pattern so that I have that to fold in, and then I will use my X-Acto to cut out the cardboard piece, and I'll show you that here in a minute. So as you can see here, I drew out my template, and it's a little crooked, but I think it'll be okay. And I did it on this side as well, which looks quite awful. And I discovered that my box is not even, so we will see how this works. I think it'll be alright. It doesn't have to be perfect, so I'm not worried about that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors. Actually, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife. And I am going to go across this and cut it in an X. And just go from here all the way down to here. And then from there and there. I may actually just meet in the center and then cut up. And I'm just cutting the paper. Alrighty, now you can see I cut the flaps. And I'm doing that again, so once I cut the cardboard, I can fold these edges over and I don't have cardboard show. So now I'm going to use my knife. I'm going to fold these back and cut along those edges. And I've been using my paper as a guide, so I may continue doing that. I'm going to cut out the cardboard in the center here, where I have along here. I'm going to cut that. So now I have my cutout, and I tape these down just lightly so I can fold them back over. You do want to go really slow along the edges, because as you can see here, I cut it a little, which is fine because I should be able to tape it back over and not have a problem with that. But now I'm going to untape these and fold them in, and on this lip here, I'm just going to cover this, fold it over to cover that. So I'll probably cut these. Alrighty, now that that step's done, I'm gonna, as you can see, I did it around the edges here. There's a few little stakes I wish I'd marked in a little closer, but I think it looks better than exposed edges on the cardboard. I think it looks a little nicer, and that's the reason I did it. You don't have to do that step. You can just cut away and not worry about wrapping it around. It does take a little longer to do it this way, but I like the way it looks. And I'm just going to repeat this process on this side, and the back side. Just so you can see how I measured this side, I took the paper and I marked how much I wanted to take off the paper. I folded it in half and cut it, and then I use this as a template to draw the square I'm going to cut out on this side, and then I'm going to draw my template on this other side too, because I've already drawn the template over here, and then I'm going to start cutting it all. Alrighty, so I changed my game plan there at the last second, and I actually didn't work as well as I thought it would. Instead of unwrapping, because I didn't want to lose the tightness of the wrapping paper, I decided to cut through it. So it doesn't look as good, and I had to tape an extra piece over right here. But it's still working. And, you know, ultimately it's what Charlie likes. But this side I kind of messed up too. Like, it's, and then up here it's, so, it's not straight, but it's just for my kitty. Alrighty, it looks crooked, I know, with my drawn lines, but this actually worked a lot better if you unwrap the ends and then do your X across with the paper that's underneath, leaving your flaps folded out, and then cut your center out, so that you have those papers to fold under and tape. Also, once you have more openings in the box, it becomes much easier to fold those in and tape them up. You can see that edge there. Alright, and now we have our last side. So now the frame of my hammock is complete. What I do recommend is that you go back in here with a glue gun, with the hot glue gun you have, or tape, like better tape than just like wrapping tape, and reinforce that edges stay there. Like this one up here is coming up already. I was having problems getting those to stay down. So I'll probably go in through with some better tape, but personal preference too, because I know this is going to rip, so I'm not going to put a whole lot of time into making it look perfect just for him to climb in and mess it all up. But now I'm going to go in and I'm going to attach the hammock. So what I'm doing for the hammock piece is I have my rug that I took all the tags off of, and I cut a piece of rope. I cut it pretty long because I can always take more off. And then I thread it through on these different spaces here. And I'm going to tie that twice like I did over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 holes on each corner of the box, and I'm going to pull each side through and double knot it here as well, and I'll probably hot glue those to reinforce them. And then I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. As you can see, I've marked holes, and I'm going to change where those holes are because they're definitely not even. But I've just kind of eyeballed how high I wanted it, and I'm going a little higher with mine because it's stretchy material and it's large. So I went in quite a bit on each end of where I placed my rope so that it wasn't hanging down and touching the very bottom, because I want it to be elevated some so that when he hangs in it, because he's a large cat and it stretches, it doesn't hit the bottom, which is why I'm hanging it up high. And as you can see, I made the holes over here and threaded it through, and that's what it'll look like in the end. And I think I might leave it like that. I may cut this a little and burn the ends, but I think I'm going to leave it with the little second knot there. And I double knotted this here. But I'll show you when it's all done. And I just finished the last side, so there you have it. Finished product. And he can't get in from any side, and I could loosen these and make them lower on the sides, but I just happened to, it just kind of worked out this way to where it looks like that's the entrance, and that'll be the front side anyways. So that's it. There you have it, your kitty in there snoozing the day away.